Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Thanks so much for taking your time to tune in. I'm Connie Fuksa, and I'm coming to you with Coffee with Connie. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Earlier this week, I talked to you about a piece of property somebody I know was buying, asked me a question specifically about previous owners that had not signed off on their interest. And so the question and the concern was, what happens to those owners when I buy this property? How am I protected? How do I know that what I'm buying is mine? And so we talked about different ways that needed to be taken care of. And we've talked about title and deeds and many of these different things that we could certainly discuss again, and we will. But the one thing I wanted to talk about today is I wanted you to understand exactly how that ownership is protected when someone may have an interest that wasn't taken care of. And so one of the things that you need to understand is, I talk a lot about you being able to choose who does your closing. And one of the confusing things in the closing side of the process is most people think that the title company handles the closing itself. They make sure that all the paperwork is signed and they coordinate some of the pieces beforehand, and then that's it. Well, there's a lot of things that happen that you don't see that are part of the process. And one of those happens to be that we do that title search to begin with because we want to make sure that everybody that has previously owned that property, when the property was sold, they actually participated in transferring that ownership. And so that way we can protect your ownership by guaranteeing that what you're buying is going to be totally yours and not anyone else's. And there's a lot of little pieces that go into making sure that's true. But one of those specifically is we make sure that if there is any previous owners, that their ownership has been transferred. And then once we are sure that we can protect your ownership, we issue you what's called a title insurance policy. It's insurance that is very much like homeowners insurance or car insurance. It protects your ownership specifically, that no one can come back and ever say, hey, I own this property and you have to give it to me. They may be able to say that, but a title insurance policy will defend you and cover any of those expenses if you purchase that policy, and it will also cover any defense expenses as well. So earlier in the week when I talked to you about the example about the previous owners that didn't sign off, if you had to defend yourself, let's say, for example, they really didn't have an ownership interest in that property, but the thing is, you have to defend yourself. You have to protect that which is yours, and you don't want to lose that house, so you have to hire somebody to protect you, and that's going to cost you. In the scenario with title insurance, the protection that you get not only is to cover whatever claim that is that comes out about, but also includes the attorney's fees to protect that ownership for you, that will defend you against any of those claims. And so that's what's one of the many things that's very different about that title insurance protection you get from the title insurance company that does your closing. And one of the reasons it's very important for you to understand these things is because where you do your closing is very important to make sure that that protection is good. Anybody can write you insurance. Think about it this way. You get insurance on your home. Anybody can write that in homeowner's insurance. But the thing is, that homeowner's insurance has to protect what you want to be protected. And so, does it have the deductible that you want? Is it covering all the things that you own? Do you have a garage that has a lot of built-ins, that's a very expensive garage? Is that covered? And so if you have an insurance agent that isn't asking you all the right questions, maybe all the things that you want covered by your homeowner's insurance isn't included. The similar thing is true if you're doing a closing. You want to make sure who's doing that closing has a lot of experience, does not have a lot of claims, understands what the scenarios are, and does the work to make sure that even if there is an issue with that ownership of that property that you're contracted to purchase, that they know how to take care of it and they are taking care of it for you. And in this scenario we talked about earlier this week, where you had several owners that were in the ownership chain that didn't sign off their interest, this particular company that was handling that particular situation was very thorough about it and did the research and was able to find those people and get that taken care of. So this is the kinds of things that you need to be looking at, thinking about, and asking questions about. You spend a lot of time looking for the right realtor to make sure that they you can work with them and they're going to find the right home for you. You spend a lot of time finding the right mortgage because you need to make sure you're going to have that mortgage for a long time. You need to make sure that the mortgage fits the needs that you have. Likewise is true. The company who does your closing is not just the person who handles all the paperwork before you get to closing, but they do a bigger piece, which is a whole lot more important actually, and they protect you after the closing and make sure that no one can ever come back and make a claim against that ownership. So just to give you a little piece of background about how that matters, because and it does happen, and it happens now more frequently than it happened in the past, because there are a lot more abilities for people to do things fraudulently, and unfortunately it all falls back in making sure that you're protected. So hopefully I helped you a little bit navigate through some of that, or maybe I spurred a question for you, and if I did, I really want you to reach out and let me know. You don't have to do it publicly. You can do it individually. Message me through Facebook, reach me on my through our website. You can reach out to any of our team members. You can actually go to either our title company website, www.foottitlegroup.com. There's lots of resources on there about these types of things. There's actually a brochure, 73 Ways You Could Lose Your Home, that talks to you about the types of things that can come up and claim an ownership interest in your home and why you need that protection. There's also a lot of resources on my Connie Fuksa website, www.conniefuksa.com. So go on, look at those things. We have a new flyer on the Foot Title Group website. The 5 most common seller mistakes that you want to go on there and download if you're looking at selling your home. These are some things you might want to know. It's free, it's easy to get to, and it is now on our website under the newest feature on the homepage. So go on there, download that today, get this good information. And if you want more resources, you can go on the buyer or the sellers tab, go to the resources tab, and download any of those free flyers to get some more information for you. So hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for tuning in to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuksa. Talk to you soon.